Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming today. So today we're going to talk about our program for Diversity Abroad Global Inclusive Leadership Certificate. You can go to the next slide, Asia. The presenters today will be me. My name is Alejandra. I'm the intern at their Learning and Development. And this is Asia. You want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name's Asia King. I use she, her, hers pronouns, and I'm the Learning and Development Coordinator for Diversity Abroad. Super excited to talk to you all about how you can own your global leadership skills and really use those throughout your whole student career and also professional career as well.
Thank you, Asia. So I want to learn a little bit more about you before I begin the presentation.
I am dropping in the chat an answer garden. So I'd love for you all to go ahead and go to that link there, and then just put in some fun words to describe yourself. How would you describe yourself to other folks? And then it will pop up on this screen here as well. For my newly joined folks, I'll re-put this in the chat for you. Doing a quick activity just to get to see who is in the space with us today. And if you could include just some words to describe yourself, and that way we can kind of see who we have in the space.
The garden. Oh, here we are. Okay. Thank you. If anybody wants to come off the mic and share, again, your name, we're always hungry, your name, what words you put in or what words you relate with, where you're from, and why you're interested in the program, or what you've heard about the program.
I can get us started.
Awesome, thank you so much.
My name is Jimena. I am the coordinator for Study Abroad Exchange at CSU Chico in California. I'm originally from Colombia, South America. And one that I put on here was intentional. So I'm very much rooted in my values and the job that I do. And so everything I do really is with a lot of intent. Reasoning for this specific space and the interest. Really, identity is everything. And if we want to be leaders, we have to be really anchored into what identity means to us, but also in the communities that we serve.
Thank you so much. Anybody else want to share? We have lots of creative, silly, funny, powerful. These are awesome words. Maybe one more person? Well, I can go. I've also put creative, so I see there's somebody else out there is as creative. And my favorite book that I've also read recently is Before the Coffee Gets Cold, and it's really interesting. It's about time travel, and it's connecting with different stories about the intricacies and the intimacies of our lives and different deaths and people are being born. It's really interesting. So thank you for sharing. So we're going to go to the next slide if Asia can go back.
Awesome. So I will give you all a quick update on Diversity Abroad. Just to give you a little bit of context, Diversity Abroad was founded in 2006, really focused on supporting students from diverse and underrepresented backgrounds with skills, knowledge, experiences to really be able to personally, academically, and professionally thrive within their lives. So Diversity Abroad, we have grown since then. We have kind of a dual side of things. We have our professional side, which is really focused on professionals who work in international education and support students populations. And then we have our student side, which is what we are here talking to you about today. And we have a student certificate program called the Global Inclusive Leadership Certificate. We have a student conference that we host every year, the Global Student Leadership Summit. And then also on our website, diversityabroad.com, we have tons of resources for students, especially students looking to navigate their identities abroad. So definitely recommend checking those out. And we'll pass it around to Alejandra to get us into more of our content for today.
Thank you, Asia. So for the Global Inclusive Leadership Certificate, the students will have an opportunity to engage in the online course to better understand their leadership identity and how it relates to their personal identity, and how, again, that better fits with their field that they're currently choosing for school or their careers. This is a 9-week course. It has 3 live sessions that focus on 9 modules. And some of these modules are leadership and identity, cultural humility, examining local, global, and intercultural issues. And the last module also has a final project. I can put the link in the chat so that you can see the rest of the modules. Here it is. So through this course, we aim to apply the theory to practice. We want you to think critically and strategically about the skills that you learn out in the world. And then again, you will be able to take those experiences that you have and communicate with your cohort, that you'll have where you have a unique opportunity to discuss the core subjects, gaining each other's varied perspectives, which I think is an amazing opportunity. You build the great relationships, and you get to network throughout the course by using discussion boards and participating in the live sessions, like I mentioned. There's one in the beginning, one in the middle of the course, and then one in the end where you can present your final presentation. Throughout the course, we want you to really consider how your individual identities influence the work that you do, and affect the kind of leader that you're going to become. And after successfully completing the course, you also receive a certificate at the end. You go to the next slide. Thank you. So now let's get into a little bit of what the program will look like once you're participating. There's a lot of quizzes and assessments throughout the modules. And through this, you're able to better understand your identity and how that connects to your specific style of leadership. So I'm going to put in a link to a quiz. And this quiz helps you better understand how your culture, your identity, your different intersectionalities affect the kind of leader that you are, very specifically. So here is the link. If you could press that, the quiz will take you about 5 minutes, and then we're going to a breakout room to discuss the results with the other people. So I'll give you guys 5 minutes to do the quiz, and then we'll put you in breakout rooms. Thank you for that, guys. So I can go first with what I found out with my results, or what I thought with my results. I thought it was really interesting because a lot of my answers were not exactly norm for my culture. And by culture, I mean like the American standards, because that's what they're comparing me to as my nationality. My communication was a little more low context compared to my culture. And the leading and persuading and trusting was completely like on 2 different spectrums. And then I start to think of how maybe my Dominican culture, my Latino culture, being a queer woman, how all the other identities might affect that. But I thought it was really interesting how those, specifically the leading and trusting, was completely on the opposite spectrum. I don't know if anybody else wants to share their results, but please, you can raise your hand or come off the mic.
I can share. My name's Pardeep. And for me, I had a similar experience of, even though I'm from the US, I'm Asian American. And so I could definitely tell some of the answers related to hierarchy did have an influence from my Indian American culture and heritage.
Thank you for sharing that. I think it's really interesting, and with these assessments, we see that like self-awareness plays a big part in knowing who we are and our unique styles of leadership, and it's affected again by our intersections, how we understand the world, and how we communicate. And with these assessments, while we're doing the course, or while the students and the participants are doing the course, it helps us figure out like our strengths and what we bring to the table. Again, with our communication styles or our leading and persuading, as well as it lets us see our weaknesses and what we still need to work on. So I think that this is one of the examples of how the students would be able to use this during their course. For the next slide, we're going to have some student panels. So we have Zishan and Alphonse share about their experience and be able to answer some questions that you guys may have. So thank you again for joining us, and Zishan or Alphonse, whichever wants to go first, can share.
Absolutely. Do I start with my name and then do I take questions? Okay. Thank you, Alejandra. And so my name is Zishan. My major is accounting. I am currently located in Florida, United States. I recently really discovered my passion or interest in international education and social impacts in marginalized students. That's why I want to take this course too, so that I can better understand diversity, equity, inclusion, and then learning about ways and power and privilege.
Do I go next? Okay, so my name is Alphonse Mutanawe. I'm currently based in Canada. I live in Hamilton. I did go. I did my school at McMaster University, and in my last year, that's when I happened to take the Global Inclusive Certificate Program with Diversity Abroad. That was last year in the winter term. And it was a really good experience, with
I think Alphonse might have frozen on us.
Well, while we wait, does anyone have any questions for Zishan while we wait for him to
a
come
really
back?
good
Oh,
learning experience.
sorry, I think you froze on us. I don't know if you want to repeat what you had said. Oh, so if you have it, oh, he's back. Hello.
I'm so sorry.
No worries.
I apologize for
Continue.
for the connection issues. So I don't even know where it cut off. So but I was saying I had a very good experience in this course. And I look forward to answering any kind of question that anyone would have like in this group.
I don't know if you had shared a bit about your experience, Alphonse, but we kind of lost you after you said you're from Canada. So I don't know if you wanted to say anything more about that.
Oh my God, I said a lot of things. I thought, I thought I thought you guys heard like everything that I said. Okay, so that's why I cut off. Okay, fine. Yes, so I'm from Canada. I did go to McMaster University. That's where I did my undergrad. I'm currently like I graduated last year, so I'm currently working, and I'm working with the international student population, and as I was saying, this was like taking like this program with diversity abroad was a really good experience, and an eye-opening experience, because like I didn't grow up in Canada. I grew up I grew up in Malawi, which is like a different country, and coming here like was a bit hard, like it was a bit hard like adjusting to like to a different culture. But then like I feel like when I took this course, it kind of like helped me like to understand like to understand how best I can I can integrate like into into the Canadian society, into like like into the Western culture, you know what I mean? Yeah, so, and it's also, like everything that I've learned, that I learned like in this course have been like very crucial, like even like in the current job that I have, while working with international students, it's really helpful. Yeah, so that's my experience with this program. And if anyone has a question, I'm really happy to answer. Yeah.
Thank you for telling us about your experience, not once, but twice. In the chat, there's a question. It says, it might be helpful to understand why you chose to do the program, and if there's anything that you learned that particularly surprised you. So you guys can both take turns answering that.
I can go first. So the reason why I chose this program, I attended the the Global Student Leadership Summit in November, and I really enjoyed my experience. I want to learn more about, because this world, ever since the pandemic, I've been thinking about international education, want to expand my knowledge about the globes and then about cultures. So after the summit from November, I received an email saying that I got into the WAVO to attend this course, and then I was amazed and really grateful, because that is something that I really needed. I want to expand my background in culture. I want to learn about different cultures, preferably learning a language, so that different language, so that I can expand my perspectives and then my learnings about the world, because eventually I do want to have my career in international education, making impacts in study abroad, fellowships and scholarship, so that marginalized students will have access to all these resources that just going back to an opportunity gap that I'm very interested and passionate about. So that's why I take this course.
I can go next. Yeah, so I feel like I've touched a little bit on why I took this program, but I can I can expand on that. Like, yeah, so I feel like for me, the reason why I ended up like signing up for for this program was partly because I was taking I was taking a specialization in global citizenship, and I felt like like whatever we're learning like in that specialization, the courses that I was taking in that in my program were kind of like linked to, to everything that, that was outlined like on the website of Diversity Abroad. So I felt like, I wanted to like, expand my knowledge, bring together what I was learning, like, in my courses, and then also like get another perspective, plus like I'm also like an enthusiast. I like, I like learning like new stuff, like if someone brings up like an idea of a course, that is open, like that is accepting people to participate, I'm always like open to like participate. So that was like the first reason why I took the course. And then the other reason was that was the one that I gave earlier on about my personal background and how when I came to Canada, I struggled to to integrate like into Western culture. Yeah, so like I personally like wanted to learn like to kind of like learn and understand how how I could I could like integrate into into like the Western culture.
The second half of the question, if you guys want to answer, is there anything that you learned that particularly surprised you from the course? And we have another question that says, how do you balance the course assignments for the certificate program with your academic course?
I can go first. For the second question, so actually everything that surprised me. For example, learning about the different leadership styles, and then reflecting on my own leadership styles. That because previously the only leadership style that I learned about is aware about was transformational. But then reading the articles, watching these videos, I learned that there's so many leadership styles out there. And then taking the assessment, taking a quizzes to learn about my own leadership styles and then reflect on my experiences, and then in the future, how can I improve? And then also learning about the local or global issues out there. That is something that I'm really, really interested. And then one of the section was talking about critical race theory, and that just opened my eyes to like it just amazed me. There are more into the courses. It's everything in there that's just very interesting, and I really enjoy my experiences.
So to the second part of the first question, I would say the thing that surprised me most was how like was how I first felt about the course, and then like the things that I happened to like actually like experience in the course. At first when I joined the course, I thought we were going to be like reading articles, and like articles and probably like book chapters, but it wasn't like that. It was actually like more fun. It was more fun. Like there were videos that were engaging, and then like the discussion questions that are in the modules. They actually give you like they give you that that opportunity to actually think about yourself, think about like the kind of person that you want to be, like the kind of leader that you want to be. So like that's what mostly surprised me. Like they like the kind of like experience that I thought I was going to have is not what I actually had. In the end was more enjoyable. And then I can go like to the next question. Yeah, so like balancing, like how to balance the course and the academic coursework. yeah, I don't know about this one, because when I took this course, I was like in my last semester, and I was taking like so many courses. I was like taking 7 courses, because I wanted to, like, graduate, like I wanted to be done with school. Yeah, so I took this one as, like, like as the 8th one, like, so I don't know, like I just happened to do it, but I feel like the most important thing that you can do in order to balance like your coursework, um, and the certificate program. This certificate program is, to know like when to do everything, especially given that for this program, the way like it was organized then, I don't know if it's still the same. Like it didn't really require you to, like, like I feel like there was so much flexibility, there was so much flexibility. You had like so much time to like actually do the work, do the work, cover the modules, and also like and also like write your journal. There was so much time. Like I wouldn't be like I didn't have time. I had so much time to actually do that. Yeah, so the flexibility that this course course gives you, won't really like affect your academic work.
For me, I just set aside time that I want to spend on this course, especially that every topic in the course interests me so much. So like for me, when I'm really passionate about something, when I really interested in want to learn something, I can always dedicate so much time on that. And then the design of the course is really simple to follow. It lay out each module, and then it lay out each section. So how it is that you watch videos, and then you read articles, and then you take quizzes and assessments, and then you do reflections on your own. So I just organize everything in my notebook, and then just to, because it's very easy to follow too. So I am a full-time student myself, and then so taking this course, it's like I really just set aside 4 hours to 6 hours every week to dedicate to this course.
And we have another question that says, can you tell us about the live sessions and what were they like?
I can go. Yeah, so I think the live sessions were great. They were really great. Like if you're someone who like interacting with other people from different backgrounds, then you are going to enjoy these live sessions, because they bring like a different perspective. They bring a different perspective because you're learning things. You're learning like things that happen locally, like the cultures, like the cultures of your local that are like in your local community. But you also like learning like you're also learning like stuff like that are happening like globally, like so with the live sessions, what for me like how I saw them, it was like an opportunity to interact with different people, like different people from different cultures, and it kind of like gave me like an experience of understanding why, like understanding why people like do like certain things in a different way, you know yeah, so like basically it's that different experience, like you're not reading something from the books or like from internet, as someone is actually like commenting on something, on something like you interacting with them, you asking them questions, and you're commenting on what they're saying, and they're commenting on what you're saying. Yeah.
Yes, definitely agree. The live sections has always been my most looking for section, because when I learn something, I just write it down, but I didn't really have the opportunity to discuss with anyone. But during the live section, it just like it's an opportunity for my cohort of us to unpack what we learned, and then have a discussion on our identity, or just have a discussion on what we learned. So like it inspired thinking. It helped me gather more perspective to bouncing back of ideas of what we thought about. Oh, this section, this article. So the live section is definitely like most enjoyable moment.
All right, thank you both for sharing. I don't know if anyone has any more questions. If you do, you could throw them in the chat. So we are wrapping up here. Again, I want to thank everybody so much. And I know some had to leave for a meeting. Thank you so much for coming today. For the registration process, Asia would explain the process of that and talk a little bit about the deadlines.
Awesome. I'm going to get my share screen up here again for you folks. So with the Global Inclusive Leadership Certificate Program, we have 3 cycles that we typically run. So we run a cycle in the summer, a cycle in the fall, and a cycle in the spring. All of those dates and registration links can be found on our website, which I'll have Alejandra drop in the chat for us at this moment if she is able to. So the registration process is pretty simple, depending on which ways you're going to. There's 2 paths. You can do a direct enroll or registration on our website. Just take into account that there is a fee associated with the Global Inclusive Learning Certificate. So if you are doing a direct enroll, most likely you would be taking on that fee yourself. We also have partnerships with many of our campus institutions. So your institution may have a program where they have dedicated some funds aside to be able to sponsor, a few students from your institution to go through this cohort program. So I would recommend reaching out to that office, especially if you've seen an advertisement or that's part of the reason that brought you here today is because someone had recommended this program for you, to check in with that office who's sponsoring it, and they will let you know what their registration process is, and then they submit the names to us. We typically finish registration about a week before the cycle begins, and then students are enrolled to the course and we get started. You'll have access to the platform starting on day 1. We use an online learning platform that I am very grateful that Alhan said is fun and engaging. That's what we definitely aim to do, especially for all of you as students. Just thinking about different ways to kind of engage and connect with the content so that it's most relevant to you. And polls are sent out to schedule those 3 live sessions that are happening throughout the cohort so that you can connect with other folks, reflect, have those deeper conversations about what you've been learning within the course module. So for the summer, we have a registration deadline of June 23rd. And then for the fall, we have a registration deadline of September 15th. I always tell people to take into account what their class schedule or maybe their extracurricular or co-curricular activities look like for that semester before registering for the course. And to keep in mind that if you're going through your institution, they might have a separate form or earlier deadlines that you need to abide by.
Thank you, Asia, for that. So in the link and in the chat, you can see some links for the registration. And again, if you have any more questions, please, this is your time. I'm going to leave some space here for you to ask. You can throw them in the chat, like I said, and you can connect with us through our email, our social medias, and sign up for our newsletter for updates. Thank you again for coming today, guys.
And if you all have any specific questions, if maybe you're with an institution, you don't know exactly who to contact, feel free to email myself or Alejandra, and we can do some digging on our end to figure out who's that specific contact at your institution, or maybe you want to request your institution to sponsor you. We can help you, guide you through that conversation as well.